I've tried for years, but more than a year ago, because
that's recently.
I had a couple of public things. I don't know if you know
great.
that.
Didn't know that.
A couple of DUIs. Not one.
Oh.
2 within 6 months. Like, are you kidding me? You make mistakes. Don't drink and drive. Okay, please, ever. Those are some failures. And then your kids have got to see this shit, and it's on the news and all that stuff. And it's like, I guess to say it's another wake up call. I had been sober before that, and then just one day you slip, and then you get behind the wheel. That's literally what had happened both times.
My uncle is actually 30 years sober. Can you believe that? 30 years sober. Yeah, the other night I was like, oh man, I got so drunk I lost my phone. My uncle's like, oh yeah, I did that once. I was like, wow, you know how drunk you have to be to lose your phone 30 years ago?
I don't think I'll ever drink again. I have no plan on it. There are times where I go, I could probably have one, but I just don't want to risk it. I can dance now without it. I can have sex without, I used to drink because I was nervous to be around people. I don't need that anymore. I don't have social anxiety in that way. It used to facilitate things for me that I don't need it for anymore. But then there's things like pot that I'm like, I give that up, and then I go back to that because that facilitates things for me that I haven't found other ways to do it sometimes.
How did your life change?
I mean, then my eating disorder is cranked up because it just jumps to another thing. But for me, that was a better thing to be abusing at that time than alcohol. Alcohol was I was gonna get a DUI, which was gonna financially destroy me and potentially physically destroy me or others. It was just, my relationships were based on drinking. It was the only way I could have sex because I was scared of sex. And so I would get blackout drunk, I would hook up with people. And then the second I would have to have sober sex because God forbid it was the bars were closed or we couldn't get booze. And then I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, having sex with someone, I'm like, I hate this, but I have to go through with it because if I don't, then I'm an alcoholic. It was leading me to be in all these situations, waking up in the morning being like, who did I meet last night? What did I say? Making friendships with girls that I would see them the next day and they'd be like, thank you so much for talking me into getting that abortion. I'd be like, what? I don't even know who you are. I would have because I was such a lucid drunk, I would get blackout drunk and no one would know I was drunk. So I'd stop telling people stories because I just figured I'm probably gonna have told them when I'm drunk. Then when I quit drinking, people would be like, we've met before. And I go, was it after 2011? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, then that's your fault. You're not memorable, so you should get an eye patch or something, or an accent or just something, but you're forgettable. That's not on me.
You stopped drinking.
Stop drinking, yeah.
Very difficult?
No, beautiful, unbelievable.
Better.
Oh, are you kidding? I would never be sitting here with you. No way, no chance.
Because?
Because I wouldn't have been able to have access to myself or other people, or even been able to take in other people if I hadn't changed my life. No way.
But again, if you're gonna drink, just be careful, you guys. Again, some of you can handle and some can't. I got kicked out of a bar on St. Patrick's Day. I was performing at the bar. How do I get thrown out, right? I'm having fun. People are giving me free drinks. Here, have another drink. I'm like, woo! I started pissing off the management and the owners of this Irish place that I was at, right? The bartender's like, hey, buddy, relax. Are you okay? Are you having a good time? I was so drunk, I did this. I'm having a great time. People around me, oh my God, are you Irish? I was like, hey! Like, what part of Ireland are you from? Downtown. Are you here by yourself? Oh no, I'm not here by myself. Donkey! Now, if you're not laughing, you need to get out more often, because that's a funny joke. That's hysterical. Ask a 10-year-old, they'll tell you, that's funny! I did that joke one night in Memphis, Tennessee, and some guy thought he knew why it was funny, and he was way off. But he confronted me outside, all drunk. Hey, you, Fluffy. I'm like, what? Mirror. No, you mirror. And he walks over and he's like, I have to tell you, your show was hysterical. I damn near wet myself when you said, donkey! My friend Roy didn't laugh, so I had to explain it to him, and he thinks I'm wrong, but I know I'm right. Could you set the record straight? Sure, what'd you tell your friend? Okay, look here. I told him the reason why it's funnier than hell that you said, donkey! It's because you're And you people ride donkeys. Normally, I would have been all over this guy, but two things. One, I was in Memphis, Tennessee. No support. And two, the guy was drunk. I just don't deal with drunk people, man. When it comes to drinking and women, ladies, when you go out, make sure you take one guy with you. You need to take one guy, even if he's, oh my God, you need one. Because a group of you get together, there's always one girl who will elect herself the team captain, right? Try to rally the troops. Get everybody together, you know.
Okay, look. Check it out. This is a shut up. Okay, look. This is what's gonna happen. We're gonna take my car, so leave your car. My car, leave your car. Ready? Let's go.
They get in the car. They get to the club.
I just celebrated 6 years sober. Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes I'll tell people that and they'll be like, but you smoke weed though, right? No, I don't. I didn't quit smoking weed though because I had a problem with weed. I quit smoking weed because I got tired of looking for my cell phone with the flashlight on my cell phone. I don't mess with drunks too much anymore, but in this line of work, they tend to find me. Yeah. Like 3 weeks ago, I was performing in Austin, Texas, and after the show, a drunk audience member tried to fist fight me. Yeah, which is funny, because stand-up comedy is the only art form where sometimes if you do really well at it, after the show, the audience will try to physically assault you. Like, that shit doesn't happen in theater. Like, nobody walks up to someone after a play like, you think you're real funny, Macbeth? To be or not beat your ass. So I get off a stage in Austin, and I walk like 2 feet out of the room, and all of a sudden this big drunk redneck walks up to me, and he pushes me, and he's like, you're funny. Yeah, and I used to be a bartender, so I knew what he meant was, let's wrestle, right? And I knew I wanted nothing to do with that bullshit, and I kept moving. And I get like 2 feet away from this dude, and then just from over my shoulder, I hear him go, Jew, fro. Yeah, and then I stop, and now I got a real conundrum on my hands, because I'm not Jewish. Yeah, I know, I didn't believe it either. But now I gotta decide if I'm gonna fight this guy on like behalf of the Jewish people. But I had just bought these glasses. And it's the most amount of money I've ever spent on glasses in my entire life, and I didn't want this big redneck breaking my goddamn new glasses that I spent way too much money on. Then I thought to myself, well, what would your Jewish friends do? And it's like, save the money on the glasses.
I decided about 7 days in that I not only wanted to go into treatment, but that I didn't want to waste my time in treatment. That I want, if I was going to make the commitment to get sober, I wanted to give myself every advantage and really do the things that people do to stay sober. And thankfully, I've been committed to that ever since. So,
you want some fake beer?
It's so.
Heineken Zero.
I can't. Yeah, I mean, I don't drink, and this is absurd to me that I would have a beer.
It's a fake beer. It's no
but like,
zero alcohol.
I don't miss
but it's not,
the
it
taste of
good.
alcohol.
Oh. Well,
What? No. Who misses the? No one would drink alcohol if it didn't get you effed up.
I would drink these. They taste good.
Really?
Yeah, I love it.
This tastes like the St. Louis Funny Bone, which is a great taste. It does. It tastes like the St. Louis Funny Bone. 2009, living my best life.
When was the last time you drank?
2011, December 9th.
Whoa.
Cleveland, hilarities.
Whoa.
After the show.
You're like, I'm done.
I just had a couple beers to close out the evening. Was by myself, just
Next
gonna
thing
go.
you know, you're shooting heroin.
I don't know what happened. I was at a point in my life where it was like, this has got to stop because my hangovers were getting so ridiculous and debilitating for a whole day. And I was just doing, I would black out from like 2 drinks because my mind, John Mulaney has a great joke about it where he says he would black out very quickly after a couple drinks because his mind was like, we know where this is going, shutting down early. Like, if you know you're going to black out, your brain just blacks out earlier.
Right.
Because every time I drank, I would black out. So.
Wow.
I woke up that next morning and I had only had it wasn't a hard night of drinking, a couple beers, but I was just the sickest I've ever been. And the thing about hangovers that I really had to look at was like, the best part about being sick, if you're going to find the best part about being sick, it's that people feel sorry for you. You get babied a little bit. You get a nurturing from your friends and family that you don't get when you're healthy. But when you're hungover, no one gives you that. So you're sick and you don't even get the only good thing about being sick, which is people feeling sorry for you. Everyone's like, you piece of shit, you did this to yourself. So I was like in the shower, in the fetal position, thinking, this is how I should feel if I'm dying. Like, I really don't want to feel this bad unless I am on my way out. So I'm not doing this anymore.
Celebrated an anniversary recently. I am 1 year sober. I noticed that when I quit drinking, my husband started collecting expensive whiskey. Thought that was a little annoying. So I was like, babe, how come when I quit drinking, you started collecting whiskey? And he was like, I have been trying to collect it the whole time. Oopsies. I am from Wisconsin, though. That's just what we do. We drank. We have t-shirts in our airport that say, drink Wisconsinably. My first shot of hard liquor was Everclear. If you don't know what that is, congratulations. You have homework. It's 190 proof grain liquor. And that being your first shot is a lot like losing your virginity to a traffic cone. Everything else is smooth sailing. When I was 15, I gave up drinking for Lent. But that was too hard, so I gave up Catholicism instead. And the priest wasn't sad to see me go because I was not his type. I did quit drinking, but I wasn't convinced in the beginning I was an alcoholic because you go to these AA meetings and you hear the craziest shit. Like the first one I was at, this woman was like, 7 years ago, I was giving myself an abortion in an alley with a water pick. I was like, whoa. You can use a water pick? I could have saved so much money. Talk about a life hack. And if you drink a lot and you're not sure if you're an alcoholic, just pay attention, because the world will give you clues. One of my clues was a country music song called When I Taste Tequila. And the premise of the song is every time this guy tastes tequila, he thinks of one person. He thinks of his ex-girlfriend and all the fun times they had together. And I'm like, whoa. When I taste tequila, it's just a montage of dicks. Just like the 2008 to 2011 Marquette men's basketball team. College was a blackout.
What would make you drink?
Oh, I'm triggered by everything. Well, that particular one, because, you know, you talk yourself into it. The one was, I decided I wanted to change my sobriety date to New Year's Day. That's how dumb that type of thinking is, right? That's the alcoholic thinking. The alcoholic will plan and scheme. And so you start planning and scheming and thinking how you're going to have that drink for what? Now, it goes back to the ADHD and the ADD. Because you need to suppress the thing that's going on. Like you feel a bit out of control, so you want to control it. So you typically control it with a substance, right? Like maybe I can put this in line, or else I feel like it's less, whatever, racy.
When I hear you talk about your alcoholism, I'm codependent. So
Me too.
My problem is, what kind of standard of behavior can I hold a drug addict or an alcoholic to?
Sobriety is the only standard.
But interpersonally.
To their behavior?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do anything.
No, I'm saying, how should I react? Should I react with
compassion?
Yes.
Yeah, you could say, I see you're struggling. Do you want to talk about it? That's all you can do.
They're late. They're and I'm not saying because they're actively drinking, they're just,
it's alcoholic behavior.
Yeah,
yep.
Alcoholic behavior. It's over 25 years. I've figured out how to do it, but it's not easy. Meaning, when I say it, I mean hold the alcoholic or drug addict to a standard. They hate it. They plead how it's not fair, how it's wrong. That all the alcoholics and mental illness excuses, and it's kind of like it's kind of not my problem.
It's not your problem at all.
Yeah,
it's their problem. If it affects your life, then it's your problem, and now they're your problem, and then you have to just let them go. Especially if it becomes toxic, or like that. If you hold them to a standard because you had to have a lunch date is one thing, or if they're working for you, then it's like you get this third strike. You're done here, and I wanted to keep you on, but this doesn't work. I've had to get rid of some people in my life that are toxic, and it's like, oh, I've known you for almost 30 years, but you know what? You're kind of shitty. So no.
Have people let you go, and you've been like, yep.
I'm sure. There are some friendships that are a mystery to me that aren't continued, and I've always been like, what did I do? And this goes back to possibly the impulsivity or the codependence, which is an insistence that we're friends in a certain particular way. And a lot of people are like, that's not that's not the way I have interpersonal relationships. So, but if you have this codependence, which sometimes is triggered by the ADHD, is because if you're not quite sure of yourself because of ADD, like, is this out of line? Is that out of line? Then I'm checking in with you, which makes you have to then be my guardrail, which is just what you were talking about. Like, what is your responsibility to this person's crazy mind and how you have to deal with and help him navigate the water? It's like, dude, you got your own boat. Maybe you should get out of the water.
Yeah.
So that those things invade on every level too. Check this checking in type
well,
thing.
Well, it's checking in with the sick person.
Yeah.
It's going to the problem.
Yeah.
And you don't take any of them, or you don't take anything now?
Nothing. I don't take anything. I rarely drink coffee. I'm very serious about no alcohol, no drugs. Life is too beautiful.
To anyone out there who's struggling with their alcohol habits, please know that you're not alone. There is a solution if you're willing to take that first step and get support. Keep trying, keep fighting, and never lose hope that freedom and a better life are possible. I want to thank these celebrities for opening up and helping to remove the stigma around alcohol. When we share our stories openly, we take away the taboo and the shame and stigma. If you've been trying to quit drinking and you just can't get it to stick, follow me over on Instagram and jump into my DMs, or have a look at all of the free resources I have available in the description below. I really appreciate you watching.